Hey Bella! All right, welcome, welcome. My friend Laurie is going to join us in a couple minutes, so in the meantime, so glad to see you. Welcome to Anecdotes Live, a new version of interview sessions that I plan to do with friends that I know from around the world. So these are going to be really just fun, lighthearted interviews. Hi, Laurie! Great to see you guys. My friend Laurie that I'm interviewing today is joining in a minute. And we're a little early, but so glad that you're here and welcome. Hope you guys like my fancy high-tech sign. Hi! Oh man, hope you guys are doing well. It's been a great day so far. Yeah. Hope you've had a really encouraging weekend and enjoying the weather. Yeah, so before Laurie joins us, and actually more people are joining, so that's great. Hi, welcome, welcome. All right. My friend Laurie is here, so let's add. Oh. Pranita! All right. Oh, Pranita. I'm so glad that you're here. I miss you. And also, to anybody who's watching right now, Pranita is going to be a future guest of mine on Anecdotes Live, which I think is a big, big deal. Hey, thanks. I'm excited too. Uh, Thanks so much for joining. Pranita is from my friend from India, who is just my hero, and so appropriate that you're joining and watching because we're actually talking about heroes this session. All right, it's 2 o'clock Eastern, and so I just wanted, as Laurie is joining the call, I'm not sure what's happening, but I've invited Laurie to join the call, the Instagram live. Oh, unable to join. Let's try that again. All right, adding. Hope that technology helps. It works for us right now. I was reminded by a friend of mine that last time I forgot to introduce myself, which is hilarious. So for those of you who don't know me very well, hi, I'm Anne, and I've had this really hilarious handle called Anecdotes, or it's just basically my name, Anecdotes. People call me various names growing up. I've been called anesthetic when I was in university, which not so complimentary, but anyway, it was really fun. Hi, Emmanuel. Welcome, welcome. All these amazing people from around the world. This is so great. Emmanuel, tell everybody which country you are calling from, or texting, or listening from. So I have been doing event planning and project management for a while now, over 20 years, which makes me seem super old. Uh-oh, Laurie isn't able to join. So what do we do? Let's try again. Okay, invited Laurie to join us again. Oh, I think we're connecting. Success, Laurie, say hi. Oh, so
Sorry, I'm cutting you off from you telling people about your awesome self and
oh
how you
man,
like anesthetic or something. What did you say? You say anesthesia or anesthetic? I don't know.
both. I've been called anesthesia and anesthetic. It was really funny in university.
Yeah,
This guy,
I think it's so funny.
oh man, as I jumped into the library elevator, of course, I saw my friend. Whoa, you're in Saudi Arabia now? Wow, yes, I do remember meeting you at
Oh,
Njiro in
oh,
Uganda, Bale.
we
Oh
love
my
it.
God, that story. If I could just take a minute to say what an awesome experience that is. And if you are ever in Uganda, you must go to Indiro, which is a coffee chain in Uganda, and it's run by Grace. She's like incredible Ugandan woman who has a vision to obviously not only employ amazing people to work in the cafes, but also help out farmers in Uganda that are now doing coffee crops, and then paying them a really livable wage. And then also partnered with a friend of ours, Laurie and I. We have a friend, Cody, who has the only Indiro cafe in the Chicagoland area. We visited, and it's awesome, and the food is delicious. Then when I went to Mbale, Cody introduced me to the local team, Indiro Cafe in Mbale, and I went with the Food for the Hungry board because we were visiting Uganda, all of our communities that we support in Uganda. And we were there not even 5 minutes, and I think Emmanuel was like, "Hi, are you Anne?" I was like, "Whoa." Traveling around in Uganda for the first time in my life and having an amazing staff person. So I cannot say enough good things about Indiro.
Huh.
And if you live in the States, they are shipping across the States. They haven't shipped yet to Canada, and I'm super sad. But if you are from the States and want to support these incredible Ugandan farmers, coffee farmers, go to the Indiro website and order some coffee beans to be shipped to you. And you will thank me later. So you're welcome in advance. All right. So yeah, anecdotes. It's basically just my nickname. And I've been able to meet pretty incredible people and have such awesome experiences around the world. And it has given me a lot of hope because I know that there are real people on the ground really influencing change in really great ways. For example, I don't know if you know this, Laurie, but I have 3 middle names that are Nigerian.
No, I didn't know that.
Because I was invited by some awesome friends of mine from Nigeria to come and help them work on a conference for about 3,000 to 4,000 Nigerian students from around the country.
Yeah.
They descended on this like camp in the bush. And they asked me to help plan. So I was like numbering trees for seminar locations.
That's awesome.
Like looking for really shady trees,
yeah,
and taping a piece of paper with a number on it.
Yeah.
Seminar 1. Oh, this is seminar 2. And then, so yeah, now they're like my aunties and uncles. Now I have Nigerian aunties and uncles and really dear friends. And then they found out that my mom and dad don't love me because they never gave me a middle name.
Oh.
So then they gave me 3 middle names.
Yeah, so they really love you. Not really love
They do. They loved me 3 times.
So what are they and what do they mean?
Oh, yeah. Well, I don't know if I'm pronouncing it properly, but Tukunbo, which means come from away. Adaisi, which means first daughter of the king. And Salatiri, which means peace.
I like,
yeah. And so one of the guys who's named me, Gideon Paramalam, he was also going to be a future guest of mine on Anecdotes. And he's my Nigerian uncle. And he has been doing, with his wife, they started a foundation of peace because they're actually trying to bring peace in that country with Boko Haram and trying to bring the 2 sides together of the government and Boko Haram. So that's incredibly powerful and important. All right, so that's a little bit about me. Yeah. Also, go to my website, annchowprojectmanagement.com, and you can follow what I'm doing there. But anyway,
yeah.
So happy. Thanks, Laurie, for joining us. Thanks for being my guest.
Yeah.
So can you tell everybody where you are calling from? And
really quickly, like I see a sign, like Anecdotes Live.
You like it?
Right behind. Yeah, I think
it's guilty.
It's also backwards on my screen, so I'm like,
oh,
but that's fun. That's fun.
Oh no, sorry. Technology. So yeah, you are calling from where, and can you introduce yourself?
Oh yeah, so I'm in the Chicago area, so Wheaton to be specific. So it's a suburb of Chicago, and Anne and I have known each other. We were talking like weeks ago, Anne, and like we don't remember how we actually met. Probably through a Lausanne connection, because I used to help out with this little publication called Lausanne World Pulse. Um, and so it was through that I connected to Lausanne. And so at the time, which I think this was before you, but 2006, I went to Malaysia for
Oh,
a Younger Leaders Gathering. Okay, you guys, I read myself, right?
no, no.
Like, we're, we're like the middle-aged leaders now, right? I don't know.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
So, yeah, so, and then Anne, I think, I don't know, like I got through Lausanne, and we probably 10 years or something, a long time, a long
It's
time.
been a while. That's what happens when you get old. You just start losing details, but it's
Yeah.
actually okay. Can you tell
I,
people about the Lausanne movement? Oh,
what?
can you tell people about the Lausanne movement?
Yeah, so the Lausanne movement is a global movement. You probably can tell them better than I can. But it's a global movement for the whole church, the whole world, doing focused on mission. And that's kind of represented in ways through business mission, through creation care, advanced discipleship, children, like all sorts of things. I think the best way to describe it, right, is like it's this like loosely knit group of people who are of God, who have common interests, and they partner to do events, and they have resources, and um, so my last job, which I just left a couple months ago, so I worked at the Billy Graham Center
Mm-hmm.
College, and the Billy Graham Center is actually the North American hub of on. And so we have like strategy groups in North America that are there. So if anybody wants more information about that, I can like who is in who are in North America, I can point you to the right person. But so we might have met. I think we were saying Madison. There was a
Yeah,
gathering in 2012 of younger leaders in North America, and so that might have been where we met.
I'm pretty sure that
Yeah,
was amazing. And who knew that all these years later, it just continues to
yeah,
really bring together some amazing projects.
yeah.
So there was a young guy who was on our team, our planning team, Richard, and he's
Yeah.
a
Coleman. Yeah,
yeah. So basically, I was already so the age range was I'm gonna tell everybody my age now,
yeah.
25 to 40-year olds, like bringing together of the church in North America some really great young hotshot leaders, and I
Yeah.
was at the edge of the 40 years old. And then Richard was teasing me that I aged out. And he's like, "Yeah, Anne, maybe we can plan the North American Old Leaders Gathering in the future." I'm like, wow, Richard.
Well,
Way to,
and then you say, no, Richard, you can plan.
I'll get my walker and I'll join you eventually.
Yeah,
Oh man. So thanks so much.
good.
All
Yeah.
right. So also I want to let everybody know who is listening. If you've joined late, hi Jonathan. So good to see you. So I just wanted to introduce my friend Laurie, and that she has been doing some incredibly wonderful and influential communications on behalf of the Lausanne movement, but also the Billy Graham Center. So if you want to know really the brains behind the operation, it's Laurie.
Not because, I quit.
But she was the brains of the operation. Now she's a free agent.
Yeah, yeah.
And so if you have questions anywhere, anytime on this Instagram live session, feel free to comments, and then we'll see those and answer as we go. But yeah,
Yeah, or if you guys want to talk evangelism or whatever, we can talk about whatever.
yeah, that's right. And all right, so let's start talking about what you're up to now, Laurie. What's your new chapter?
Yeah, so okay, so in January, this is the making, that I had this goofy idea to write a book.
Mm-hmm.
And so last spring is when it kind of started to take form. So I've been like writing and editing for all like for different organizations, publications, and so I had this idea to write a book, and and it was on heroes, and it was my kind of my main influence was my dad. My dad is just this incredible person who has given me so many words of wisdom, and so I really wanted to write to honor him, and so I decided it's almost a year ago, like right, that I was gonna kind of go down to part time at my former job, book on the making of a hero.
Mm-hmm.
And so in January I did that, and then I wrote down for 3 months and wrote a book, and it was really fun, just a fun experience. And then in March, April, I finished the first draft, and that was when COVID was kind of, spreading around the world, and everything was kind of shutting down, and our kids were coming home. So I just, as I looked around and was just noticing just people doing good things, I thought, well, I wanted to do more than just write a book. I wanted to have ongoing conversations, and it was kind of goofy. I don't know if you guys know John Krasinski is. But he had all the good things videos. So he would be, this was like,
Yes.
right, where he would like, start talking about all the good things going on.
Yeah.
And I love that. I think a lot of people are like really old, because like much of what we hear now is really is hard, right? It's hard news. And so I just, I wanted to start having conversations about people, everyday people who are just really inspiring and great.
Mm-hmm.
Even like last, and one of my friends was posting on social media about asking like, what's one takeaway that you have about from this whole pandemic?
Mm-hmm.
And answers were like good, but one person said that that people aren't as nice as had
Yeah.
hoped to be, that people are actually more selfish, um I thought, that's kind of what we see a lot too, like we see that in the news, and
Mm-hmm.
so back in the spring I just decided like I wanted to kind of go all in
Yeah.
on getting the message that people are amazing and you guys are amazing, and um, just kind of fleshing out what it looks like to be a hero maker, which means to inspire other people to live into their potential. So that's what I did. And so this is the Hero Makers is about a month old. It's still an and but it's fun. And so that's what I'm doing, is I'm just kind of trying to start sharing these kind of stories of inspiring people.
Yeah, we definitely need it. I totally remember the Krasinski when he
Yeah.
was doing. I actually got weepy, and maybe we just need that so much these days, and we're just being swamped by all the Karen stories that we just kind of need
Yeah.
like other perspectives that actually there are still good people in the world.
Yeah. 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 Well, it was a goofy, back in like February or something. I was working out at a gym. I got like a gym membership this year because I was
Go, Laurie.
be my year of the marathon, and then so I was like working out, and I was watching, like, how the video screens, they've like they have 6 different video screens showing 6 different things, and like on one of them I remember it was like an M&M commercial, and it was like this old guy, and he was handing out M&Ms or something. I mean, I'm probably getting some of the details wrong, but he was handing out M&Ms to like the kids and stuff. And I was like crying in the gym just because it was such a sweet, kind story.
Yeah.
Like this image of like this older guy, and he was just kind of like doing whatever he just wanted to do it. And that was a good picture.
Oh man. I just think it really is those small moments that are
Yeah,
touching.
yeah,
I was in I was in France, and I had my backpack with me, and I was on a bench, and there's these really cute French guys beside me, and then I was gonna leave, so I'm getting all my backpack stuff on, and I had a hat on the bench. I was gonna but then he's like, don't forget your hat. And he puts it on my head, and then he taps the hat.
Oh,
And he goes, but it was really sweet. I'm like, wow,
yeah, yeah,
so much chivalry. It was really, really nice.
yeah, yeah. It's
Oh man. So okay, let's talk about your book, which is awesome. I thank you for including me on the process because you're doing this not on your own. You are doing this in community
mm-hmm.
with friends. When I think that's like the most amazing way of doing it. I think a lot of writers just write their little book by themselves in the dark hole of a room without any sunlight, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But you've actually intentionally just invited people along with you. And so I feel like this is also my project.
Mm-hmm.
And
That's
so, yeah.
I love it. I remember the first time that somebody, because I had like 6 or 7 of you guys who were kind of like, you'd pray for me, and I remember the first time you said, "Oh, like we are gonna do this, like we're gonna," and it was like them kind of owning the project too, and it was really fun for me to like, oh, like it's not just me, it's like other people like are part of this, um and I don't know if I told you this, Anne, but some time ago, like I feel like God gave me this little phrase. Did I tell you this? And so it's like my mantra going forward. And as I felt very much like God was saying, do what you love with people you love, and make the world a little bit better.
Oh, wow.
And I think like all of us could do that in
Mm.
like, you have to recognize like you're not always going to do things you love, like there's just life, and sometimes you're in really hard situations,
Mm-hmm.
but as much as possible, like what can we do that joy,
Yeah.
and who can we reach out to that brings us joy? It's really interesting because I'm like a raging extrovert, and so like i I needed people who are right, like, or like the club, and some my daughter is an introvert, and she thinks like it's the best thing in the world to be an extrovert, and I was like, no, no, because like, then you're people dependent. But that was like part of uh me having other people on the journey, like I want to be lonely, but but it's, I think that concept, like do what you love with who you love, and make the world a little bit, like the kind of the 3 pieces of that are just really good and important. So
Yeah, I agree. Hey, welcome to our new people who are joining the call, and that's so great. I'm totally excited to introduce you to my friend Laurie, who is just such a role model for like just intentionally bringing people along with her in her new project. And we're going to be talking about her new project over this next few minutes. Hi, Andrea. Woohoo. Andrea and I have known each other since we were in high school. That's a long time.
years ago, right?
This was a couple of years ago, clearly.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love that. Honestly, when we have the opportunity and the choice to include people that we like,
Yeah.
I mean, go for it.
Yeah.
um, when
or or just find ways to like the people you're with, because sometimes people are challenging, like let's be honest, like people are not. I
what?
remember I started writing heroes, and somebody's like, well, what about the people who are awful, like are they heroes too?
Oh,
Oh, you got to find ways to love everybody, like, even the hard ones, right? Because we're all hard, so, like,
ouch. Thanks. Dig deep.
not you, but
Oh, well, no, it's true. No, I was just told this week that I was super annoying. So,
oh,
yeah, you know, nobody's perfect, and that's okay. All right. So, I'm curious about like whether or not your book and your website, and are you wanting to define what a hero is, or are you wanting to help us create heroes? Like, yeah, curious
oh,
about.
yeah.
Oh,
I think, yeah, until like we have to kind of redefine what a hero is in order to understand what hero making is.
right.
So the book was on the making of a hero. So it was, but then the movement, I wanted the movement to be something like, so that we understand that the way that we live is for other people. right?
Hmm.
So it's not like about our actions necessarily. It's about kind of how our actions affect other people.
Oh
Um,
yeah.
and so with the hero, we like Anna, you and I have talked about this, but and it's the difference. See, you just use the term role model, which is interesting. And so, so one of the things that I, kind of thought through is like the difference between a hero and a role model. And so kind of the way I see is the difference is like a hero, when you see somebody and they're a hero, you say, I wish I could be like that person. Whereas a role model, you say, I want to be. So there's like with the role model, there's the ability to get there. Whereas like with the hero, you're like something that's not attainable.
Right.
And so what I want to do is help like all of us to realize that like heroes don't have to be out of like they're not out of the norm. Like and that's one of the maybe one of the only good things of the pandemic is that like we've heard the term heroes creep up over and over. Like we were up in Wisconsin and we saw just like big sign right outside of the hospital that said, well, heroes work here, right? Kind of see that. And
Hmm.
I was driving by and I told my husband, I'm like, I want to get the signs that say heroes live here and put them in the yard.
Oh
Because we're hearing the term hero for healthcare workers, for essential workers, all these great, great people.
yeah. Hmm.
But what I'm saying is, I think when we expand our understanding of who is a hero, so who can inspire other people to be better, and that's kind of like the working definition of a hero is it inspires people
Hmm.
better and do better. Then when that happens and we expand it, then we begin to see like then my neighbor next door who is trying to raise her 5 kids. Like she is incredible. And then we can say, oh, the guy, down the street who is balancing his job and then trying to like make money. He's a hero. And the person who has all these incredible stories of their past and the people kind of woven their journey, like they're a hero. And um, so we're expanding it and just to allow people to kind of get rid of the narrative that some have and that other people are better than us or other people can do more than we can. I think sometimes we have this narrative that says if somebody has more money, if somebody has like a seemingly more put together family, if somebody is in better shape, whatever, 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 then like they're somehow they can do more. They can impact our world more. Um, and 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 so it's kind of breaking that down and saying, you know what, God has given all of us like gifts,
Yeah.
and and I think sometimes we talk ourselves into squandering them
Uh-oh.
because because what's the point? Like, what is if I go tutor the kid down the street? Like, okay, fine, like that's a fine thing to do. But what we need to realize is like us tutoring the kid
Mhm.
is empowering him to get better grades, to be smart, feel more self-confident, he will then grow up and he will have more self-confidence. He'll be able to. So it's like a ripple effect that somehow we can begin to see when we see that each thing we do really, really matters. That
Yeah.
was really long-winded. I'm sorry.
Oh no, don't apologize. That was really good. It
Okay.
got me thinking because I really think that in the end, I mean, I'm not sure what you're hoping, but I think that actually that one of the goals of even writing a book like this or having a website or even having a podcast is to help people to dream.
Yeah.
To inspire people to go, oh, well, if that's what a hero is, then I have all these people in my life that have been heroes to me.
Yeah.
And in return, you hope that you can be a hero to somebody else, even
Yeah.
if it's really small.
Yeah.
And one of the things I was thinking about, and we talked about as well, is that there's an unspoken issue at hand. Like whether or not it's somebody, this kid down the street who has dyslexia,
Mm-hmm.
or if you know of some women that are in trouble and that are being trafficked, or if there is a global pandemic, there are there are issues that are happening in the world and then it's really basically our response
Mm-hmm.
to that and
Yeah.
to issues that make us like heroes, even though we would really, really
Yeah.
not say. It's interesting when you like see like television interviews with people who just rescued a kid, from drowning.
Yeah.
And the first thing they say, "Oh no, I'm not a hero. I just responded. I just knew how to save
Yeah.
a drowning kid." And so, but they really are heroes. So I think that's really interesting.
Yeah, well, and that kind of goes over to like the hero makers too, because once we begin to see that
Mm,
everybody has this potential to impact people, to inspire people, then we become people who are like laser focused on other people. And I want to help you get to where you need to be. Um,
right.
so that's the hero making part of it is we are looking outward and we're saying, you know what, you can be a person who is, courageous and empathetic and humble and all these things, and let me be part of your journey to get there. So can I share a quick story that
Yes.
might illustrate this? Um, so okay, so I'm part of this anti-trafficking group here in Chicago, and specifically for sexual exploitation and trafficking. And so there's a number of places that have women who are exploited or trafficked. And so we go into different places and just kind of like tell these women we love them, provide resources for them, help them get if they need housing or child. Um, and so this one place opened up, um, and across from a bowling alley, and a lot of the people in my community go bowling at this, and so and because a lot of people don't know much about um, women who are trafficked, this assumption that they're bad, like stay away, like we don't want you near. And so like there was this big outcry.
Mm,
This spa that was across from the bowling alley. And so like a couple of us were like, hey, you know what? These are women in there, and they're hurting. They're actually pretty incredible women in there, um and it's not just about like you all the time. It's about, we have to look outside of ourselves. And so one of these women, we would go in and just chat with her, and she like one of the women started to like tell us her story about her kids um and her mom who was still life and all this, and she kind of just started to share like her dreams and about like so she was exploited, not trafficked, and
mm,
so she was telling her dreams about, well, this gives me money so that my kids can have food on the table and have all. Now we can judge as much as we want and say, well, there's other ways to do that, and of course there are better, and but and there's all this dynamic going on, but the point is that she was doing something that for her children, like for her there was like this
wow.
history of exploitation in her family that led her to this job. But she was doing it for her children. And
Wow.
so, and from the out, and until we can look in from the outside and um, and
Mm,
see people for their humanity, then I think we're really like we're missing the boat on this whole concept of a hero.
mhm.
And that's why like hero makers, I think two things about hero makers is that one, um, we're always focused, hero makers are always focused on other people. So um, and that sometimes that takes effort, and like it just takes effort to like look around, oh, like that person in the store looks sad or whatever.
Mhm.
um and then two, I think hero makers, they're flawed and they're messed up because they're people. And that like the whole thing with heroes is we have this kind of this idea of heroes in our mind that they're so great, right? And so what happens is they either mess up and they come crumbling to the ground on their pedestal, off of their pedestal, or it's just unattainable for us. not helpful. Um,
Wow.
so that's like kind of like a story to demonstrate the connection of like hero makers who can look at a woman in the spa who's been trafficked and say, you know what, yeah, we don't like that this is in our community, but we love you so much more that we're gonna person.
Right. Well, I think whenever you're faced with issues like that and real people, then you do ask that question of, am I going to enter that person's pain?
Yeah.
And am I going to, in order to
Yeah.
have empathy and in order to understand their context better, right? So for most of us, it is an option on whether or not we're going to enter into that world of pain and brokenness and try to figure out the context and how did they get there. And some of us don't have that option. Some people, it's their family member, or sometimes it's really just them. And so that's interesting. Like, and those are the traits that you write about that are on your website. So do you want to tell people about your website?
Sure. Yes. So the website is heromakersmovement.com. And on there's inspirational quotes. There's like little sections each of the hero traits. And then there's a list of contributors, so people who will be writing on the intersection of hero makers and different cultural. So an article on laughter and on systemic racism that we have, justice, and so if anybody is interested in contributing an article, I would love that. Would love to build like a community of people who are perspectives, and then of course our podcast. So that is Hero Makers Podcast, which is going to be launching next Tuesday.
Tuesday, that's so fast. So that's our new announcement.
Yeah, we have like balloons like going up or something. I don't
know. Woo! So that's Laurie and I. That's our new project together.
Yeah. So, I asked Anne 2 weeks ago. Was it 2 or 3 weeks ago? And she said yes. I feel like it was like a proposal where I was like proposing to you. But Anne you guys know Anne. I'm sure Anne here knows you. Anne has a huge heart for the world and our global community and our friends and the marginalized and the underdog. And so you were just a really great person to ask to be co-host for that. So I'm really excited. So we're actually taping 4 episodes this week, and then it launches next day.
Yes. So anyway, I just want to say thanks, Laurie, for even asking me. I'm pretty honored.
Yeah.
As the Brits say, I'm chuffed.
Chuffed.
Because I think, holy moly, you just know the world. Thanks, Laurie. Thanks, Andrea. Yeah,
thanks, you guys. Yeah.
So
make sure you listen in and help us spread the word, because this is like, you guys, this is like a total grab from the ground up. Yeah.
Roots, like seriously grass and seriously roots.
Okay, so can I share a little bit of the stories we up of people?
Yeah. Also, I kind of wanted to know if you have a hero or who has made you. Who's been your maker?
Yeah. A lot of heroes. So the first one is my dad, and my mom, like both of them. I can't imagine my life without them. When I was younger, I had just kind of some significant trauma that happened. And so they walked alongside years and years and years. And so I like to kind of think of them as like the tangible presence of God in for a lot of years. And so them, and then there was a woman I met on our outreach, the local bars that we went to. Her name is Jessica, and I developed a really good friendship with her. She worked in one of the bars. She eventually up passing away from hepatitis.
Oh,
So I walked with her last year of that and saw her um, just embrace life, like great
wow.
joy, and really pursue God wholeheartedly. And it was so sweet, Anne, because when she was a couple days before she passed, like she just kind of said, I can't wait to meet Jesus. Um, and so she, up until like the weeks of her life, she was dreaming big. She was dreaming about stained glass glasses, and helping her son. And so so those are the two people that like really come to mind when I think of that.
Oh man. I think people that we normally would walk by on the streets and not even know.
Mm-hmm.
We just walk by and say, "Oh, just a normal person," but really, that they're true gems.
Oh
And
yeah.
their approach to life is just
Yeah.
like sets the bar really high for the rest of us who aren't suffering at that level of
Yeah.
pain.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I have a neighbor up the street, and she just turned 30. She's had thyroid cancer 3 times, and she has 2 kids, and she's like incredible. Like, I'll go visit her and she makes the best salsa. So she'll make salsa. She'll like sit down, we'll chit chat for a little bit. Well, not now, the corona.
Right?
But we did, and she just, like, you would never know how amazing it is unless you actually took the time to get to know her. And I think that's what our world is. It's like our world, like, are all these like special, like you say, gems. Like, there's all these special gems that are all over the place. And so it's just like it's discovering who those people are, and then how our lives can intersect with those people to get them like further path.
Wow. Yeah, I'm totally excited, Laurie. Thanks for even writing this book. I feel like it's going to inspire so many, and the website and the contributors are also awesome. Who else is contributing? Can you say?
Yeah, so your next guest, who I probably shouldn't say this, but Sam Kim
What?
is
Just kidding.
is
Hey.
but Anne will talk about Sam. And then my friend John Edwards, who has been doing like amazing work in justice down in the Little Rock area, and he's a pastor down there. I have this woman Susan, who's a lawyer in India, so it's like fun to hear her perspective, and then a couple other people on there. We're trying to get diverse voices here so that we have everything covered. So,
That's awesome.
but yeah, we would love to have you guys join us. If anybody likes to write and you like kind of that intersection of people, then shoot me your message, and would be great.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
I love that as well because, again, you're just including an entire community to come with you. And
Yeah.
it's not just about you, but it's actually just outward focusing and including and bringing more people along. Just
Yeah.
want to say hi to Queena and to Willa. See you guys. Hi. Welcome. If you guys have questions, totally feel free. You guys are super quiet out there. There's no questions. No questions for Laurie. And anyway, one story that I thought, I don't know him personally, but I have met him, is a guy who was a DJ in Cambodia, in Phnom Penh. It's kind of like your friend as well, but he was honestly just working as a DJ, but he would observe the crowds and he would notice the women who
Yeah.
were trafficked, and he knew who the regular women were and the regular guys who would come by, and who was also like forcing them to do this. Like, he just saw it all happen as he was working. And then he was approached by some people with International Justice Mission to let them know who. And so he became an informant.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, wow, amazing to have a DJ in Cambodia as an informant. And now he is a lawyer for
Yeah.
International Justice Mission. So now he's actually putting people away. And I'm like,
Isn't
that
that
Incredible.
So you know what that demonstrates, Anne? It's like the power of like even the littlest things to change even the trajectory of our life,
Yeah.
right?
Right. Wow.
And so, yeah, I mean his ability to know it. Like I have a friend who like she did used to do kind of some tutoring on the side, finances,
Mhm.
and then she was tutoring on the side, and then she just realized that like she loved teaching, and it just changed her whole trajectory, went that direction. So
Yeah, that is a high likelihood. Like you just are like, oh, okay, I can tell you who are the women and who are the
yeah,
customers, and then your entire life changes because of
yeah,
that.
yeah,
Amazing.
mm-hmm, yeah.
Uh, so, like, I just want to say again, for sure, for those of you who just joined. So, Laurie and we have an announcement. It was the poor, worst kept secret ever.
It was bad. It was bad. It was my fault.
No way.
I was like, no, I'm ready to help you.
Let's go. So, Laurie, do you want to tell everybody again what we're about to launch?
Yeah, so Anne has agreed to join me as my podcast co-host. You're like my, I don't know, what's like summer. It's not like super dating me. Okay, I'm not that old. Like I didn't actually listen to Sunny and Cher, but like who's the young equivalent of that? I don't know.
You're
But
Robin. You could be the
who?
Batman.
Oh
I
yeah,
could be
Robin.
Robin or
Yeah,
something.
I'll be Robin. Okay, so Anne and I are doing this podcast called Hero Makers Podcast, where we'll be talking to great people every single week. We're gonna try it to 30 minutes. Probably gonna go to 40. Uh, and we already have great people lined up. We have like this couple who has stage cancer, and so we're gonna them on having a joyful life in the midst of like a terminal illness or a bad diagnosis. And we're going to talk to somebody who's dealt with some racial injustice and talk about compassion fatigue. We're going to talk to another person who started seeing farms that changed the whole community. It was like just mired in poverty and unemployment. And so we're going to talk to him about his little vision. It was like a little seed farm,
Uh,
and how it expanded, and now really it's just like this radical transformation of their community. And then we're going to talk to one of my friends who's running for political office in
oh,
Little Rock, and so she is in HR, and so like her journey gets to kind of more civic stuff, and she's trying to kind of help all of those on the fringe of Rock to come the center. And
wow.
just really fun people. And if you guys know of people that we should interview, then let us know. Like shoot us those stories too, because we're looking.
Yeah.
They'll be fun. So,
Yeah.
and so if you have anything else to add about that, because it's your podcast too, you're like co-owner of it.
Oh, I know, which is such an honor. Yeah, we're going to interview my friend who works for the UN at top levels, fighting social justice issues as well as human trafficking. And she is literally my neighbor. She is about a 5-minute bike ride from where I live here, and she is a rock star. Like I just respect her so much, and so she's going to be joining as well as one of our guests. So thank you so much, Laurie. It's been such a fun chat. I really hope that other people have enjoyed it. And then, yeah, totally go over to the website, check her out, check out the website, go over to the podcast and like the podcast, give us like your rating and say nice things about us. Oh, yeah. So, Andrea, let's talk about the hero trait of suffering well.
Mm.
Yeah.
So suffering, that's a big one. And I think it's like an important caveat to start is that like it's suffering doesn't always have to be a large scale. So you don't necessarily have to have cancer, something like that to suffer well. I was joking around when I was writing my book that I had a nerve thing in my back, and it was like really bothersome. It ended up being disc issue, but and I was like kind of I'm like grumbling, no, I can't grumble, not a big deal, right? So we tend to like relativize sometimes, whether it's like physical, emotional, and I think we can't do that, right? Because we have different experiences dealing with is like ours. So suffering well, like I don't know if you guys remember, but years ago, maybe 5 or 6 years ago, there was a woman named Sarah Tippett for her aunt hearing her name. Um, she had this book called Mundane Faithfulness, and so she was a mom with like 4 kids. She was like 38, and she got cancer and then ended up passing away. But I remember following her journey, and she said something really interesting once, where she said when she's talking about dying, and she had said, "I don't I'm afraid to die. I just don't want to." And I feel like the kid at the party whose dad comes early, and I don't the party. Um,
Yeah.
and so she wrote a book and she blogged about her journey, um, and it was heartbreaking to watch, but like the good that came out of that. I mean, like thousands of comments of people who are like, "This really inspired me. This, it gives me hope that like even though my end may not be what I want it to be, like today is precious." And so it was very moving to see how her story, it was, which it didn't end up how she wanted it to be,
Mm.
but how in the process, like her sharing her story really changed people. And I think the thing about suffering well is that, like, sometimes even though it's really scary, you guys, to share, like when we are going through hard times, like when we start to open up about that, like we welcome people in,
Right.
to that, and it becomes that enters the empathy. There's all these sort of things that kind of fall there. I remember, so when I was young, and I don't know if you know about me, when I was young, I was sexually exploited, and
Oh,
um and for years I didn't tell anybody. Then started to, and it wasn't, I just started to just because it's part of my story, and I'm like trying to hide this
mm.
sense. um and when I did, it gave other people the opportunity to then say, hey, I've been through this, or um and
Wow.
suffering well, it's having this attitude that your suffering isn't in, and it actually could be helpful to other people, and encouraging to other people, even and that's painful, and there may be not appropriate to say it out loud. It may take time to say it out loud, but
Mm.
like kind of this attitude and this witness that through it all, like it's gonna be okay. And if you guys haven't read the book by Randy Alcorn called it's called God is Good. It was he wrote it like years ago. It is like a must read. Like if you're talking about topic,
Yeah.
where when he talks about suffering, problem of evil, and all of that. Um, but that's, I mean, sometimes it's the greatest witness that you have, and that's why I'm really excited to talk to those are the couple who have cancer, is because they actually started this organization, Being Hope Cancer Foundation. You guys can find it, and it is like incredible just to see their smiles, like every day they're posting on Instagram. You guys should follow them, and they're like taking this journey to different places because they're trying to embrace life, and the joy, I mean, the joy is like through Instagram, it's contagious.
That's
and
awesome.
and so I think that, I mean, that's just part of stuff. Well, it's way more than that, but that's like a simple answer. I hope that was helpful.
Yeah, thanks. Honestly, I think that when you do open up, you actually invite people in, and
Yeah.
then can also relate. And then it's like, oh, okay, so I don't have to actually suffer by myself. This is actually, and it's not just me. There are other people who are suffering like me, maybe not exactly in the same way, but still. And then just how do you then love other people through that? And how do you accept love, even if in throughout your own pain? I think
Yeah.
that's really
Yeah.
awesome. And I can't wait for us to dig into that trait of suffering well. I think that'll be really interesting and also hopefully just inspiring.
Yeah.
Um, all right, where else can we find you, Laurie?
So we are Hero Makers is on Instagram at Hero Makers Movement. So, and maybe you can like or I can put a comment, I guess, if I can multitask, we could put a comment. Hero Makers Movement on Facebook and Instagram. Don't really go to Twitter, you guys. Like, I'm terrible at Twitter. So I just can't manage it all right now. Like, it's kind of a one-man show at this point. So,
that's good. You're all right.
Instagram, Facebook, we're posting every day there. And if you guys want to be my friend on Instagram, then at the 5 Nichols, the 5, number 5, Nichols. And then the website is heromakersmovement.com.
That is so great. Totally go over, like all of the things, and follow along because I really am excited. We are like, these interviews are going to be so good, you guys, already. And then, all right, so the next interview is for Anecdotes Live is
drum roll,
Reverend Dr. Sam D. Kim, and he is a Harvard-trained ethicist, Yale Hastings scholar, and urban minister, and a friend of both Laurie and mine. And he is not just a title; he is a fantastic and fun human being. So he is going to be talking about his research on ethics. His research is on loneliness. And I think that is so incredible, especially during COVID and the fact that we're supposed to be, sheltering in place. And it just emphasizes our mental health and that where some of us are just like really struggling. So we have 2 minutes left, but Laurie, what do you think about Sam, and why should they come back and listen in a couple weeks?
About Sam.
Yeah. Okay. Do you have any fun stories?
Sam is, did you say that he's pastor of 180 Church in New York City?
Okay.
Sam is, I remember him telling me this funny story about how when their church, and I'm botching this story and he's going to correct it at some point, but of his church was needing to raise some money for their rent, and they all got together, a bunch of the people in the church got together and sold their cell phones to make money for that. I'm probably botching it some way, but that's the general gist of it. So like Sam is very creative, and he has all these big titles, and he's really smart. He's really good at talking about cultural things too.
Okay. I don't think I want to go to his church if they're going to ask me to sell my cell phone.
I think that's just a one-time thing, and maybe their leadership. Ask him about it next week. So you guys need to come to the next one so that he can, make my wrong right. That I don't know. But yeah, I think it's great, Anne, that you're talking about loneliness, because it is a huge problem, especially to the younger generation right now. And a lot of people don't talk about it, right? They just kind of stuff it. And so it's good to get it out there.
Yeah, I'm excited. There's going to be some great people. I'm also going to change my sign if it's backwards, so sorry about that. And we have 13 seconds left, but I just want to say thank you again, Laurie, for gracing us with your presence and who you are, all you're doing. And so much love to you.
Thanks, Anne. Thanks for having me on.